Hey guys, welcome back to Electrified Reviews. My name is Mitch, the guy over here behind the camera. And this over here is the A2 from Aipas. I think I'm saying that right. I've seen some different pronunciations online. We're going to go with Aipas, and this is who I'm talking about when I say Aipas, even if that is incorrect. Now, this is a suspension, not full, but we do have some front fork suspension up here. Fat tire, 750 watt, 48 volt bike. Now, it is folding. As you can see from the pretty aggressive down tube angle here, we have got a pretty approachable step through. Right here at the top of our folding joint here is 21 inches. We got a 21 inch standover height right here. Pretty approachable, still pretty big. You know, looking at them online compared with some of the other bikes we've tested, it looked a little bit smaller, but then when you get it, you're like, oh no, it's a fairly big bike, but it does fold down right here in the middle, right up here. So it does get down to a pretty nice little package. So we're going to go through some of the main components here, then we're going to take it out for a test ride. So if you guys want to know about specs, stay tuned here. If you guys want to know about test rides, chapters, further on down the line. Let's start with the cockpit here. So when you get on the bike, you can see we've got these handles here. No locking mechanism. Would be nice. They do have a little bit of a twist to it. It is about 100 and something degrees outside right now, so if any of you live in a hotter spot, you'll know that those tend to get a little bit more wobbly the hotter it gets. We do have these little end caps here, so you can pop these out if you guys want to put any of those end cap mirrors on here. Makes it nice and easy. That's a Hornet. He's just checking out e-bikes. Yeah, it's just an e-bike, Mr. Hornet. And over here we have got our control panel, so we're going to turn that on. Try not to get stung. You're not going to sting me, right? Okay, thank you. So you turn it on. This is a display that we've seen on a couple other bikes. This M5 display here. It's going to show us our energy level, speed, pedal assist level, miles we've ridden, our trippa, and our volume, cur, tim, and our odo. Okay, so we're going to get to see a couple things here. 5 levels of pedal assist. We're at 0 all the way up to 5. Now if we put it in pedal assist level 0, does the throttle work? No, which is the right answer. So as soon as we put it into pedal assist level 1, go ahead and rock it. We're going to get some juice from the motor. Now with the throttle, it goes to 20 miles per hour. All over the bike it says it's a class 2, top speed 20 miles per hour. But when I was pedaling it, it gets up to about 25 with pedal assist. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's the way it comes on every one or if we just had a little bit of extra speed. Didn't do anything here. This is out of the box as it comes. It doesn't come with a 1000 helmet. That's all scratched up. That one is mine. So let's go over here. We've got our turn signals. So we can turn our turn signal on back here. See that bad boy going this way. And then of course, boom, to the right side. Got that turn signal going. And that is pretty cool. A little bit of horn here. Not super loud, but loud enough for people to hear. So I like it. You know, it's not one of those things where if you accidentally hit it in the garage, you're not gonna, pee your pants. So we turn our front light up here with this button here, and we turn on the front light. You can see it over here. Actually fairly bright for this type of light. So pretty, pleasantly surprised with this. If this was gonna be something I was gonna be riding a lot of night riding with, would probably opt to get something a little bit higher, a little bit brighter, but I don't know if you guys heard there's a guy going by. He's got headphones on. He's singing real loud. Decently, a little off key, but decently. So if, like I said, if I was going to be doing a lot of night riding, probably would look to get something a little bit brighter. But we go back here. We also see that we got our brakes here. And I'm trying to remember, use my handy dandy foot here. So we do have some brake integration, which is another nice safety feature. So as you pull on the brakes, it is going to light up, letting people know you're coming to a stop. And click this again to turn the light off. Speaking of the brakes, we do have mechanical brakes here. They work pretty well. A little bit extra hand pulling, I think, has to take place for you to stop it. But even as it comes right here out of the box, we haven't adjusted anything. We don't have any brake rubbing, and it stops well. I can skid the tires on it, so not a huge deal. But if this is a bike that's gonna be going 20 plus miles per hour, it would be cool to see hydraulic brakes on here. But like I said, these work well. We do have the integration, so not a huge deal in my opinion on this bike. And again, looking at the price point, if you get the package as it comes right here, right now it goes for $1,000, or if you're in marketing, $999.99. But I round up because inflation. So it could be $1,000, this whole package here. They do offer one, I believe it's $200 more to get the cargo package, which comes with the front basket, which you can mount right up here, and the rear basket, which easily mounts right over here. You see we've got our bolts right here, so boom, you pop that on there. Now, not my favorite spot to mount bolts, because as you can tell, it is sticking up a little bit. Not terrible, and if you had pannier bags, it wouldn't matter, but if you wanted to mount something that was kind of flat here, you probably just be best off taking these out unless you were gonna get that larger package. So just something to keep in mind if you get this and these are getting in your way, just take them out, store them somewhere safe, and then if you do want that cargo package, boom, bam, boom, you pop it on there and you're good to go. So while we're down here, let's talk about the power here, the thing that makes it go, and that is the motor. We've got a 750 watt motor here with these fun mag wheels, which just give it like a beefier look, you know? I don't know what the real appeal is other than the looks. People say it's tougher than spokes, and that could be true. You gotta tune up spokes and keep them tight. You don't have to do that with these, so it could be easier. But it is a look, it is a vibe. So if you like it, here they are. They're right on here. The motor here, as far as performance so far, we'll do a ride test later and you can see top speed, how she performs, but not too bad. You know, throttle is pretty torquey on the low end, a little bit of a steeper power curve than we're used to seeing on bikes like this, sort of in the stock configuration. So that's fun. The throttle goes up to 20 miles per hour, pedal assist level 1 through 5, which is awesome to see. If you need to punch out of a situation, you can do that, as long as you're not pedaling. Now we'll get into this in the ride test, I'll demonstrate this, but with a lot of other bikes, the throttle overrides pedal assist, but here, pedal assist overrides the throttle. So if you have in pedal assist level 1 and you're hitting the throttle and you're going 20 miles per hour and you start pedaling, it's gonna take you back down to whatever pedal assist speed, whatever the top level is for pedal assist that you're in, which is interesting. I don't even know if I've ever come across that. So an interesting way that they are, weighting pedal assist versus the throttle. Most of the time, we want the throttle to be able to take us to 20 miles per hour and we can pedal as we like to, which is sort of my riding style that I like to do. But just something to note, if you're like, hey, the throttle's cutting out, it's probably because you're in a lower level pedal assist and the speed that you're going, and you're probably giving those magnets something to think you're pedaling with. Up in the center here, we've got a spot to mount something, whether that's a lock, extra tube, or a water bottle cage. Now what's cool about this, if you mounted your water bottle cage way up here, you still have plenty of space here to still have that step through. A lot of people will mount it a little bit lower, so you're kind of losing that step through by putting a ball in here. But with this one, it's kind of the best of both worlds. Maybe even we could have mounted it a little bit higher. Maybe we would have ran into some stuff here. Be interesting to see how this folds down with maybe a full water bottle here, but it is nice, far enough out of the way to where you have some step through here, which is sweet. The battery in here is lockable and removable. It's a 48 volt, 10 amp hour. So we got 480 watt hours here. Not a whole lot of range, but again, looking at the price points, similarly spec bikes, really it's not a bad deal, honestly. And normally we say that toward the end and we talk about the value proposition stuff, but for $1,000, you could get something like this, and it does have a few different bells and whistles, even though they are sort of like lower end. So for example, this control pad up here, it looks a little bit cheap, but it works well. So we have we've got turn signals, which say you're looking at like the electric. As far as I know, doesn't come stock with turn signals. So that's something. And electric also comes with the mechanical brakes, but then, sorry guys, just reading a text here. But then, they gave free hydraulics to everybody, which is pretty dope. So now all the electrics I think are coming with hydraulics, but if you're somebody who has one for a while, you know that it came with mechanical brakes as well. So up over here, we've got that front suspension fork that I had mentioned early in the beginning. We've got lockout, we've got preload adjustment. So not a lot of travel in here. I don't even know if this is 80. Looks like it's more like 55, 65. Something like that. Definitely easy to bottom it out if you are, riding it. Now I'm 220. If you're a little bit lighter than that, probably wouldn't affect you the same way, but that is just something I noticed. Like there could be more travel. We do have a fairly aggressive road tire here, or should I say more of like an off-road tire. We do get the sidewall reflective stripes, which is nice to see. Full fenders, I haven't mentioned that yet. So we got fenders up here in the front, fenders up here in the back, and these are sort of the, not necessarily thicker, but they are a fairly thick plastic, mounted really well right up here. And with this particular bike, the setup here was super easy. I don't even know if I put anything on this bike other than the pedals. Maybe, no, I don't even think I put the light on. I think this thing comes pretty much fully assembled. It's a bit of a, thicker, more squarish box, so they send it folded down, and yeah, it was pretty easy. I basically popped it out. I did have to put a little bit of air in there. They were a little bit low for me. It was sitting at about 10 psi. Pumped them up to about 20 for all the ride testing and stuff that we're doing. But yeah, other than that, it was a fairly quick process. The longest part of the setup here was taking off the plastic, which was cool. So that's a good user experience to have, especially if you're not somebody who wants to install all the fenders and the racks and like plug in all the lights and do all that sort of stuff. It's pretty sweet. So we were talking about suspension up front. Let's talk about the suspension right here. We do have the seat post suspension. Now this is a lower end seat post suspension, nothing fancy like the Sun Tours that we've seen on a couple of the bikes recently. But again, thinking about the price point, it's cool that we have this extra suspension here, and that makes the whole ride feel a little bit better. You got these fat tires, so we're already pretty comfortable. Then we've got suspension in the front. We don't have that much travel, but it's still there. And we've got the seat post suspension. It really does make this thing feel pretty nice to ride. So yeah, don't have a whole lot of complaints as far as that goes. Kickstand here, very basic, nothing too fancy. I'm gonna remind you of the price point here, but that is, yeah, it doesn't rattle, doesn't shake. It works, and that's what a kickstand needs to do, is work. So there is that. The pedals fold. You guys have seen pedals fold before, so I'm not going to demonstrate that. But if this is something I was going to keep long term, as I normally say, I'd probably look to get a wider pedal, something that's maybe a little bit wider this way and a little bit longer. I have flat feet, and that's the way they're supposed to be. So I would get probably a wider thing here. I also don't really need the folding capabilities of this bike, and I'm not going to need that extra 2.5 inches on the sides, whatever that ends up being. Over here we've got our chain ring. We do have a chain guide here. It's just a little plastic guy here, better than nothing, but we don't get any coverage up here, so if you're riding with some slacks or some pants, you might get some chain grease on you. Then the rear rack, we had talked about the attachments for the rear basket. We got 35 kilograms up here. Sorry, I can't do that math in my head yet to tell you what that is in pounds. 35 kilograms. Google it. Find out what it is in pounds. Let me know. So we've got the rear rack here. Decent routing of the light cable back here. So from the side, you can't really see it. Some hooks here for any sort of like pannier attachment, something like that. Decent rack, honestly, from what I can tell. It's fairly thick. Decent welds. Could look nicer, right? It is a little bit not as quite as finessed as it could be, but it works well. It's straight, and it came attached to the bike, so I didn't have to do anything, so I like it even more. We do get a derailleur guard back here, Shimano tourney for our 7 speeds. Let me count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7 speeds. And that works pretty well. When you get to those top speeds, 20 miles per hour is okay as far as ghost pedaling goes. When it does go above that, as I was mentioning, it was going about 25 miles per hour. You do get a little bit of ghost pedaling, but if you're somebody that just wants to hit 20 and that feels good to you, then the gearing here worked out really well. It's just when you get to those higher speeds that it starts to become, a little bit more apparent. So that's most of the specs. So all you spec people, I think we covered most of that. If you guys want to know more specs, you can head over to electricbikereviews.com. Right underneath there'll be some pictures, a little bit of an intro, and then there's going to be the specs. So there's going to be basic specs, which is sort of the overview specs. There's a tab you can click on for more specs, and you can see the full list of specs that we carry, all the stuff that we find important, and some of the stuff, that people get lost in the weeds on, we don't have on there. But if you have any specific questions, we still got the bike, leave me a comment either on YouTube or there, and we can get it done. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pop on this helmet, because we're safe people around here, and we'll take it for a little ride test. Now normally we start somewhere where we get to the trailhead here, and then we usually go down there, but because it is a special day, a special Monday, we are going to start here, start on the trails, and see how she handles, and then we'll get back up on the road, do a little bit more riding, and then because it is 100 miles an hour, 100 degrees outside, let's see if we can find some shade. That'd be dope. All right, guys, we are set up, got everything done we need to take care of, so let's go ahead and test this thing out on the trails. Nice and easy breezy. Just doing throttle only right now. Feel the motor doing a little bit of work here, as most motors tend to do. Every once in a while I get surprised, someone will just scream up here, but she seems to be pretty typical as far as power goes. I like those tires. Seem to be doing some pretty good work. Somebody move that tree. Thank you, people. Move trees. Just cruising on through here. Yes, in the shade. Not too shabby. Now I do hear a little bit of rattling up in the front. I'm trying to decide if that's the battery or the suspension. I think it's the battery. Now that happens with some of these bikes where the battery will fit in there. It's just not quite right, or not quite tight enough. So it's one of those things where, oh, that's pretty steep. But hey, she did it. All right, now we are cruising. We're gonna head to pop over here, do our usual hill test that low end torque. Okay. See what I'm saying? Those brakes, they work pretty well. All right, so pop here. Go ahead and slide down here. Yeah, those work pretty well. I mean, you heard him. He said, yeah. He must have been talking about me. Go ahead and hit a brake here. You guys know if I got brakes, it'll skid. I'll skid. All right, so we're in pedal assist level 5. Then put it about here, should be good. Kind of creep up here and let's just hit it. I mean, it is going, but it is slow going. So she did make it, but I'm feeling if we do throttle only, we will not. But you know what, guys? Feelings aren't science. Well, I mean, not really. So let's do some science. Good turn radius on her. Go ahead and let's do just throttle only. Give her a little bit of a head start here. Oh yeah, she barely made it, but she did make it. So let's continue our adventure this way. All right, guys, let's do a little more off-road on this bad boy. Now I am down a little bit further, so I don't have like a good pedal geometry as it stands right now. We're doing a little off-road, a little loaminess here, a little sand, but yeah, it handles well. I'm trying to like kind of kick it out a little bit, and she's cruising. Throttle only, still able to hit that 20 miles per hour, real nice like. Actually, it's pretty lovely. Pretty lovely. Rider. Well, if you guys got some trails like this and you're looking for something that can handle it, she can handle it. She does real well. Again, as we mentioned, some of the things that I would swap out if I was gonna keep it long term, pedals is one. Definitely would want something that's a little bit wider, but if you need that folding for, you know, your transport situation, whether you're putting it in the back of an SUV or a car or something like that, then you might wanna, you know, tough it out, or just get some pedals that you can pop in and out pretty easily. Make sure while you're out riding, you've got a good foot contact. Speaking of contact, the other thing I would change out, as I mentioned, is the grips. They're not they're not bad. I mean, I feel like I've still got a pretty good grip. They're not really sliding on me like some of those, you know, leather ones tend to do a little bit more of. So I still feel like I've got pretty good control of the bike. But I would, yeah, I don't want to swap those out. Yeah, all this like bumpy stuff, it's handling it all right. So if you wanted to go do, you know, national park trails or state park trails or just park trails in general, this is a pretty decent bike for it. Yeah, really not unpleasant of a ride here. Yeah, we're just scooting right along. And Melissa's right. God, that scared me. I don't know what that was. Melissa's right, that's just gonna be in the woods. Is it off-road ready? Well, I don't know, guys. I'm proving it right here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what are we getting into here? What are we getting into? What do we sign up for here? Okay, all right. Yeah, this is nice. Also, I am, for the most part, butt in saddle, which, you know, if you were really trying to get some stuff going on, you probably want to stand up a little bit, but suspension up there did great, handled well. Tires had some good traction to it. Not a whole lot to complain about if I'm being honest. For $1,000 bucks. Oh. You know, it'd be a fun video one day is to you know, find one of those guys that's maybe a little too serious about mountain biking and get on something like the Electric XP Lite, or maybe something else that's even, you know, maybe a little bit better for mountain bike terrain, and just like keep up with him the whole time and make fun of him for sweating. I bet you he'd really like that. Think about those clips though. Crazy mountain biker Karen attacks e-bike reviewer. That'd be pretty silly, get some good clips from that. But we're not here talking about the future of electrified reviews, guys. We're here to talk about the A2 from Aipas, artificial intelligence pedal assist. That is what this is. And hey, maybe that's why the pedal assist is weighted versus the throttle, you know? Which I will demonstrate here in just a minute. We'll pop through this twisty section here. We'll do a top speed test and I will demonstrate that for you guys. But yeah, honestly, just a blast to cruise around on. All right, so to demonstrate it, what we're gonna do is get into the shade first and foremost. That is priority number one. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in pedal assist level 1. All right, so let's see, so we're cruising, right? We'll go to 15, that'll be higher than pedal assist level 1. And as soon as I start pedaling right now, it cuts off, and because it's weighting, and I mean weighting, W-E-I-G-H-T-I-N-G, weighting the pedal assist versus the throttle. So as soon as I let this go, see, that's kind of what we're doing here. And if I stop pedaling, and I hit the throttle again, boom, we're gonna go outside of that. The only one that doesn't actually do that with might be 4. We'll check 4 here. So we got 4 going 18. Start pedaling. Yeah, 4 is gonna take us a little bit faster than 20. So not a huge deal here. Oh, I'm being attacked by airsoft people. Can't believe it. Oh, and then they're gone in the woods. There's some banditos over there. Oh, if I was younger, you know what I'm saying, had more time on my hands, boys wouldn't know what hit them. It'd be airsoft. Yeah, somebody hits you with an airsoft gun, you're very right to go and hit them with an airsoft gun. Actually in the Bible, I think. Okay, so we're going 17 here. I'm gonna scoot on past this fella right here real quick. Oh. And pedal assist level 3, 2, 1. So yeah, so it's gonna cut off into 1. So that's interesting, you know? That is an interesting aspect. We'll go ahead and I'm like, hey, let's do a top speed run right before we hit the stop sign. After we hit the stop sign, we'll do a top speed run. We'll wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you being here. You know you appreciate being here too. pop out over here, see how long it takes us to get up to our top speed. It's our good starting line right here. This is the Zoo's starting line. And 3, 2, 1. Throttle. Like with the throttle, we're just doing top speed here. Pedal to level 5. We're at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 21, 22 is not bad. Right at about 22 and a half, I start ghost pedaling. So right now, I'm not putting any work into the bike here. Just pedaling along at a nice cadence, hitting 25, 26, 26. So 26 looks to be about the top speed, even though, you know, a lot of places says 20. So just something to note that you can go a little bit faster. So guys, that is going to be our review of the A2 from Aipas. Use those turn signals. Turn this way, thank you. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know down in the comments. If you guys want to see pictures, some extra specs, head on over to electricbikereviews.com. Otherwise, I will catch you on the next one.